rewind, baby, pull me one more time. I just wanna rewind, I just wanna rewind, I just wanna rewind.
In this video, I'm going to show how this credit card was constructed on Spline. And in my next video, I'm going to show how to create a hero section and a few banners using Figma. Spline file is in the description. You can make a copy and let's get started. Let's see what is happening inside. Here on the left side, I have a group called card. So this is the card. Let's expand, and inside I have front group. I have back group. Okay, let's rotate. I have back group. Let's rotate back, and I have a background, meaning the card itself, and it's called BG, background in short. Creating background was the easiest part, and I'm going to show how to do it. All you have to do is click on rectangle, draw a rectangle. Okay, let's rotate. I'm holding Alt or Option key to rotate with my mouse in case you are wondering, and click here, drag this here, extrude, add corner radius. I'm talking about right side now. Let's leave size as it is. Alt or Option key plus R, and I'm going to add the material I've used. It's called this one. And you'll see that we had the same card. Of course, it is much smaller, but it's the same card. I'm going to delete now and go back, Alt or Option key plus R, and select background. Now I'm going to talk about materials. Here on the right side, I have size, which is bigger, and you see it's 1000 by 620. I have a corner radius, extrusion is set to 8. And here below under material, I have this card called card BG, meaning card background material. And here I have multiple matte caps, 3 matte caps actually, and lightning here at the bottom. I can hide or unhide this. I used this section for adding bump map. Let's start from the top. I will explain everything I've done here. Because it's quite complicated and it took some time, it's not as easy as it looks because I've tried multiple variations to come up with this view. Let me explain what a matte cap is first. A matte cap, okay, I'm going to open this one. A matte cap is a collection of materials plus light. And this is very important because it has light in itself. It's not just colors and shades, also it has light. I'm going to hide directional light here. And now my scene is dark. It has no light. But since I used matte cap, I can still see the light here, right? And this is what I mean. It has light. And if I add light on top, it is on top. But matte cap, or matte caps I've used, has light. Each matte cap has light, and this is so important to understand. It's not just colors, okay? This is very important. Let's go back to material section. I'm going to click on card BG and explain each layer here. Let's start from the top. First matte cap is here. Let's click on it. I'm going to close this one. And you can see how it looks. You can click download button here and download this matte cap. And visibility was set to 10. I'm going to increase to 100 so that you could see how it looks. And let's go back to 10. I'm going to click here. It was set to overlay. It is the same matte cap I'm using on the rings and the logo. I just wanted to add this colorful glow of the same matte cap. If I hide this, look, less saturation, less color, and if I enable it again, you can see it has a soft color shade. The second has silver matte cap. The third layer from the top has a different silver matte cap. Okay, I'm going to hide, and you can see how the card is changing. And it is set to overlay. Next goes image, which is hidden. And let's click on it. I added this image. It's a texture. I typed metal silver texture on Google and I found this texture. You can download here and see how it looks, and I added here, but it's hidden because I just want to use the texture. You can go to Lightning, and here under bump map, you can choose this image. You can set intensity to 2, 3, you can increase intensity if you want, or decrease. It can be 0.5, but I used 1. And this is how I created this metal texture. So I have 3 matte caps stacked on top of each other, and I have an image which I'm using for texture. However, using multiple matte caps is not the best idea if you worry about performance. And the reason is quite simple, because each matte cap that you upload on Spline, I'm not talking about the matte caps that Spline has, I'm talking about the ones that you upload on Spline. Each matte cap has weight. It could be 0.5 megabytes or it could be 1 megabyte, and it adds up. For example, here I have 3 matte caps and it's about 2 megabytes. And it's heavy. 2 megabytes is heavy if you want to use it online. If you check export settings, you'll see what I mean. And run the test, you'll see that export size is 4.63 megabytes and loading time is really low. But I'm not going to use it online. I used this credit card model for still images and a short video animation. That's it. So I didn't care that much. Now, if you want to get free matte caps, you can check Spline community section. You can find multiple models made by great designers. And I remember taking this matte cap from someone into my collection, but I can't give credit because I don't remember where I took it from, but I know that this was from Spline community. You can also go to Google and type free matte caps, and here on GitHub you can find a huge library, and I've used a couple of matte caps here on my credit card. You can also type free matte cap creator, and here Matcap and CubeMap Creator, you can find an online tool. Okay, let's click on it. And you can create a matcap on your own and use it later on Spline or any other software. Note that the card, which is called BG, is set to 0, 0, 0. I'm talking about right side and position. Look, it's set to 0, 0, 0, rotation 0, and scale is set to 1, 1, 1. Meaning that it's at the center. I'm not going to use perspective mode here at the bottom. I'm going to switch it off and back to this orthographic. Since I'm going to show each layer and how it works, I don't want to use perspective anymore. I use perspective for shots, but for editing, I don't need this mode at all. I'm going to expand front layer. It is group called front here on the left side, and you'll see each layer inside, and we have everything. Let's start from the bottom. I'm going to select platinum text layer and click letter S to center and zoom in. Okay, here I have a text layer, and you already know how to create a text layer, I guess. You can use this text tool, and here on the right side I have all the settings. So it's platinum, size is set to 120/32, font size 32, and so on and so on, and font is Inter. And you don't want to use your own fonts if you are going to use, let's say, this model online, because just like with matte caps, font has weight. And if you add font, it adds up on your performance here on export and here on your performance tab, and you'll see that your size is increasing and your load time is decreasing. However, if you don't care about online presence, let's say, and you are going to create shots and maybe, simple animation, you can add your own fonts. But I would say stick with the Spline, because Spline has a huge library and you don't have to worry about fonts. Look, you can find so many fonts here. Unless you can find a font you want to use, you can upload here on Spline by clicking this little icon and use your own font, but it rarely happens, if ever. Let's check the material section. Here, under material, we have silver. I called it silver. I'm going to click on it, and I have a matte cap, which is set to overlay. I have rainbow, which is set to overlay, and I have a color. And look, lightning is hidden because I don't need it. And remember, matte cap has light in itself. So I disabled lightning here, and I use a color here at the bottom. I can hide or unhide. And let's check the first one. I used this one. I think it was from GitHub. I think this matte cap was from GitHub. And I added rainbow. Okay, let's make it 100. And once you do that, you can see different colors. And if I hide this rainbow, all you can see is the silver color. But if you unhide rainbow, so it gives kind of this effect, rainbow effect. But I wanted to set it at 30, and color, red set to 1, green 1, and blue to 3, and frequency was set to 30. You can check the settings here below. So this is how it was set up. I've used the silver asset, the material asset called silver, on each object that appears white or silver here on the front and here on the back. You'll see text, line, stripe, eagle. Every single object that appears white or silver is set by using this material asset called silver here at the bottom. Visa logo was acquired using Google. I just typed Visa logo SVG and I uploaded here. It's SVG file. It's great because you want to use SVG file. You don't want to use images like JPEG or PNG because they get distorted. And SVG file is different. The quality is consistent. PNG looks quite awful here on Spline. Wi-Fi icon was acquired using Figma and Feather Icons plugin. Exported as SVG file and imported here. If you expand this group, you'll see how it is constructed. And if you want to learn more about scalable vector graphics, I have 4 free courses on Udemy that you can find. And I'm talking about SVG extensively, showing examples, showing how it works, and how to create scalable vector graphics, how to export everything. I cover literally everything you need to know. I'm going to skip circles for now and jump to logo. I had to name it somehow. So I decided to type dbank, and D letter is typed separately on a separate layer, and bank is on a different layer as well. So 2 layers, one is called D and one is called bank. Also added different material, which is called black rings. But I'm going to talk about this material asset a little bit later when I'll be talking about the rings. Now let's cover chip icon. I'm going to select chip icon group and click letter S to center and zoom in. And I'm going to expand here on the left side and expand here. What I have here, I have chip background. It's just a rectangle here below. This is how it was created. And it has corner radius and it has silver material asset. I have chip SVG, which is on top. I have different lines here. This file was created using Figma. I'm going to show how it was created. Here I created this asset by using pen tool, a rectangle, and I flattened and exported as SVG file and imported back to Spline. This is how it was created. And once you add this file here, you can add material asset. It's called chip background. It's just lightning and the color. Rings and circles. It took a while to create this composition because I wanted to create something unique. I've done my research. I had about 20 cards for inspiration, and I wanted to create something different, something that stands out on its own, something I could later use for creating a banner or hero section. And it takes time. The process is so time consuming because you're experimenting a lot, you want to try different things. It's way faster if you are copying someone, right? Let me show the original and you'll know what I mean. Look how many layers I have on the left side, and all layers are loose, some are hidden. I have multiple circles, I have multiple rings. I've tried multiple things. I've used only circles, only rings, some different combinations. And it takes time. I have 2 big black rings. One is called Black Ring 1 and Black Ring 2. And here I have dot on ring 1. Let me show you what it does. I'm going to select this, click letter S to center and zoom in. It adds a dot at the end and it looks nicer. This is what it does. Alt-Option-Key plus R. Let's recreate one ring. All I need is ellipse. Okay, I'm going to hold Shift to make it equal. I'm going to extrude, and I'm going to use this ring setting and make a ring. I'm going to change color to blue. Now I am going to use rectangle. I'm going to extrude like this, ellipse like this. I'm going to select both here on the left side, both selected, and here on the right side, the Boolean modifier, and I'm going to click this one in the middle. I'm going to add material, and it's called black rings. And look, it is the same. So this is how I created ring 1 and ring 2. I'm going to delete this one. Now let's talk about the matte cap that I've used. I'm going to pivot a little bit. I'm going to click on this material. It has matte cap and nothing else. And I've used this material on the logo, on 2 rings, and on some circles. You'll see the ones that are changing color. This is the matte cap. And look, I've changed rotation to 40. Let's go back to 0. And the color has changed. Now let's go back to 40. So what it does, it rotates the matte cap around, and it affects how this matte cap is placed on the object and how light is affecting the object. The light in the matte cap itself, you can get different effect, and you can rotate. And I used 40 for my shots, for my images. For creating circles, I've used a cloner. Let me show you how it works. All you need is ellipse. Let's change the color and scroll down here on the right side. Choose cloner, radial, increase count, hide base, and you can control like this. And if I add silver, I will get the same effect. And this is how the main part was created. And I'm talking about, let's expand. Yes, this one. Let's scroll down. The cloner is on, 64, and all the settings are here. However, when it comes to this, And this, I've decided to, okay, let me show you. I've decided to convert each object to instances. So I made a duplicate, Control or Command plus D. Okay, let's drag it here. And I clicked convert to instances. And once I convert to instances, I get two layers. One is group of clones here. Okay, let's change to a different color. This one. One is a group full of clones here inside, and look, clone 1, 2, 3, and so on, up to 64. And here is the component part, meaning that instances, each instance takes all the settings from this component, this one. And this is the group full of instances, or let's say copies. I'm going to delete this one. So I have one big clone here, and here I have instances, and components are hidden because I don't want to see them. If I drag my mouse, you see that it's here, and you can unhide. And once you have instances, you can expand each instance and resize. I wanted to have control of each instance, and now I have so many instances here, but I can change each one. For example, I can select this one and change the color. Okay, let's to silver. Okay, let's deselect because I have control over each instance. Okay, let's go back. But if I select this part, I don't have this luxury. I can use cloner settings here below, but that's about it. If you want to have control of each circle, you have to click here, convert to instances. Of course, you want to make a duplicate first and then convert to instances. And this is what I did. I played around with size and spread, and this is how I came up with this. Okay, let's check this one. For example, this, it starts small at the top, it gets bigger, and same goes from the bottom. It starts small. I did that by converting to instances and going through each instance, each clone, and resizing here on the right side. You can see on the right, for example, here I have X is set to 7 and Y is set to 7. When it comes to position, let me show you. When it comes to position, each layer is positioned differently. For example, if I select logo and check position, you'll see that Z axis is set to -2. And if I increase, it goes up. If I decrease, it goes down. And now you can't see it anymore. Here it is set to -1. I'm talking about Z axis, not X, not Y, Z. Here -1.5. and so on. The group called front was also moved on Z axis. Let's check on the right side. Now it is set to 10. If it goes back to 0, you can't see anything. And now you can see this group, which consists of all the layers inside. And then later on, each layer was adjusted individually, and I'm talking about Z-axis, of course. Let's go to the back. Let's collapse this, select back group, expand, and let's check Z-axis. Z-axis was set at -1. Okay, let's click here, set to -1. If it goes to 0, or +1, you can't see anything, but if it goes back to -1, you can see everything. And each layer was adjusted individually, but as you can see, most layers are set at 0 here on Z-axis. Only this icon was set to 1 on Z-axis. Eagle was created using Figma. I took an image from Google and sketched this eagle using pen tool and exported as SVG file and imported here. added material called silver, and that's about it. The stripe, magnetic stripe, was created by using a rectangle and using correct measurements. Okay, it was 1000 by 80, so it was 1000 by 80, and adding silver material. And if you drag on top, it looks the same. This icon, I'm talking about this, was created in Figma as well, and I created a path using pen tool and exported as SVG file and imported here on Figma. It's called card insert group, and inside there's a path, and on the right side you can see that size was set to 3 and 3, shape to rectangle, silver material was added on top. It's extruded a little bit, it looks extruded, and this is what I wanted. Card dividers group has another shape which was created using pen tool, duplicated 2 times to have 3 copies. And if I select one and go to the right side, I can see that the shape was set to circle and size to 2 and 2. Material is silver as always. And what's left are the text layers. And working with text layers is quite simple. I'm going to cover a few, but I'm not going to go through each one because it's just a text layer. You can select each text layer you want and check the settings on the right side. For example, here I have card numbers, and here on the right side you can see how it was constructed. You can see the box size, font, alignment, and everything. And here I have a group, security code, I have this, and here numbers here at the bottom. But let's start from the top text. Alignment is very important if you want to stay consistent. Here we have top text group. Inside I have 3 text layers: right text, left text, and center text. Let's start from the center text. Center text is this card is issued by DBank. This is the text. I'm going to center and zoom in. I'm talking about this. And look at the size. The size was set to 1040. And 1000 because the card size is 1000 by 620, I guess. Yes, we are using same dimensions horizontally, 1000. And since you set the size of this box to 1000, you can click horizontally align to center, and you don't need to measure, you just know it. Now with the text called left text, inside is dbank.com URL, the size was set to 9 and 70, meaning that I want to have a padding 20 pixels on one side and 20 pixels on another side. 960 plus 20 and 20 is equal to 1000. And once I set to 960 horizontally on x-axis, I can position here at the top at 0, 0, 0, and I can set alignment horizontally to left and vertical to center, and it's going to be perfectly aligned to left and center, and the padding on the left side will be 20 and on the right 20, but I care on the left. And what I do next, I duplicate this. I have this right text here on the right side, which is called credit. The text inside is credit, but the size is the same, 960, and position here 0, 0, 0, meaning that the box is centered. And once I set horizontal alignment to right and vertical to center, I know it's perfectly aligned here. Padding is set to 20 and 20. So this is how you do it. There's also another way which I use a lot, and I'm using this method for probably up to 20 years. I use mouse to check alignment. I do this, And I check because I started using Photoshop about 16, 17, 18 years ago. I don't remember actually, but I was a kid, teenager to be exact. Of course, it's not that exact, but and if I need a quick check, I always do this, and I do this on Spline, I do this on Figma. I'm not saying this is a perfect method or the method you rely on, but if you want a quick check, I will always do this. And if I have to check this, I do this. And if I have to check this, I do this. So this is how I do it if I want to check it quickly. Okay, next. Oh yeah, this one. Let's zoom in. So this layer has the text, tag, systems, and some numbers. Let's create a duplicate, Control or Command plus D. Let's move here. Let's rotate like this. Okay, minus. Now look, if you check rotation, it's minus 180 and minus 180 here. And let me show you what is happening here. If I create new text here and I type something, change the color. Okay, let's make it bigger. New layer is created, and look, it's rotated to minus 180 and 180 because it's at the back. If I bring here, I can rotate to 0, 0, and it's going to be good. But if you switch to back, it has to be rotated to minus 180 and 180. So this is what is happening here. Okay, let's go back here to this layer. And this text layer was set to 620 on x-axis because the card is 1000 by 620. And once you set to 620, you can rotate to minus 90. And you can set horizontal alignment to center, vertical to center. And now you know that it is set to center, especially if it is set 0 here, 0 here, and X is not that important. That's about it when it comes to the layers. We covered back, front, and background, Alt or Option key plus R. Performance issues. I'm going to click Export, run a test. It is too big and too slow, and we already know why, because I've used too many matcaps. Spline is also telling that I have too many objects, but I did some tests. I removed all the objects, all the circles, and the performance was the same. And I'm talking about loading performance. I've tried multiple browsers, there's no difference. I would say that export size is the main problem, but when it comes to objects, it's not a big deal when it comes to load time. And if you check clones, booleans, everything is green. And here we have some opportunities. Okay, reduce the number of objects. It's irrelevant, it didn't work. The loading time was pretty much the same, and too many matcaps, which is true, but I'm not going to use this model online. I just wanted to make few still images and a video. For creating images, you can use this option. I'm not going to click because Spline will create an image. I don't want to do that, but I use this option. But when it comes to videos, I don't think this option is useful at all. It crashes all the time, and I have multiple computers. I've tried multiple browsers. I even tried Spline app, the one they are offering on their website. It's not reliable, and I found that using OBS is way better. It doesn't crash, the quality is great. It also records in MP4 format. There's no way I'm going to use this video recorder ever again. animation and how it was set up. I'm going to click on card, collapse. Let's check the state on the right side. Base state. Oh, and I'm going to switch to perspective. State. Okay, zoom out a little bit. Check rotation. I changed X and Y. State 2. I changed X, Y, and Z. State 3. I changed X, Y, and Z. And on state 4, I went back to 0, 0, 0. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 states. Now let's check events. I have 2 key down events. First one is for animation. Key down, the key was set to letter A, lowercase letter A. It goes from base state, okay, it should go from base state, goes to state in 10 seconds. I adjusted the curve a little bit. It was ease in and out, and I adjusted the curve just a little bit. Now from state to state 2 goes spring in 1 second. The settings are here. From state 2 to 3 also spring. It springs. I changed the stiffness and damping. And from state 3 to 4, meaning back to 0, ease in and out in 1 second. And the delay was set to 2 seconds. That's it. The second key down was for the sound I added. The key was set to A because once I play A, I want the animation and sound to start at the same time. I added MP3 file, and if you want to learn more about adding sound on Spline, you can check my other video where I show how to create a sample, how I created a sample sequencer, and volume set to 10 and delay set to 2. So I've used OBS Recorder, clicked Start Recording on OBS, then clicked here on the Display button, clicked letter A on my keyboard to start the animation going, with the sound of course. Then later, once it was over, I clicked Stop Recording on OBS, and this is how the video file was recorded, which was later edited on video editing software. If you have any questions, just let me know. I will be more than happy to answer. Mwah!